Last week, she got a phone call from someone claiming to be with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office from a real county phone number. They were calling to tell her she had missed federal jury duty and there was a warrant out for her arrest.
They were using certain terms and words that made me feel that it was truly a major issue and that I was going to go to jail.
Unfamiliar with the jury system, Cheryl was told not to hang up the phone until she paid a $15,000 fine. The scammers actually stayed on the phone with her for nearly 3 hours as she hopped in her car and went to her local bank not once, but twice to withdraw money.
I needed to go get the money out of the bank, and I needed to take the money to this bonds machine to satisfy the warrant.
After 2 separate visits to her bank, the people on the other end then gave her directions to a wire transfer location. When the terminal at the King of Prussia Market didn't work, Cheryl went to this global gas station on Route 202 to wire the money from a machine. It was only then she realized she was being taken and called 911, but not before forking over $6,430.
Impersonation scams are the fastest growing scams in the country. The Federal Trade Commission says consumers lost a record $10 billion to fraud in 2023, and imposter scams were among the most prevalent. For scammers, they're cheap and easy cons that can yield big money without police learning about the crime until they vanished with the money. And it's not just in the U.S. Japan is experiencing a dramatic surge in scams where criminals pretend to be police officers. In just the first 5 months of 2025, these fraudulent schemes have cost victims more than $217 million. The situation has become so serious that Japan's National Police Agency has launched a nationwide awareness campaign to warn the public. Fraudsters are now using fake phone numbers that appear legitimate, sending deceptive social media messages and even conducting video calls to convince their targets they're real police officers. Between January and May of this year alone, authorities identified 3,816 separate cases of police impersonation fraud in Japan. The scammers are profiting from victims of all ages, with 40% of the victims in their 20s and 30s. The FTC, Federal Trade Commission, is the government agency that warns people about scams, but it has no law enforcement power. Still, some scammers pretend to be from the agency and threaten arrest if the person on the other end of the phone doesn't pay a fine. This woman was threatened by a PayPal scam, and she explains how they work.
Impersonation scams are scams where someone will contact you, whether over the phone, through a text message, it could be through the mail with a letter on official-looking letterhead. It could be through email, which is what happened to me. It could be through a direct message on social media. And the scammer, the person contacting you, is impersonating or pretending to be a company that you'd be familiar with. Like in my situation, they were pretending to be PayPal, but these scammers pretend to be Amazon, Microsoft, Target, government agencies like the IRS, the Federal Trade Commission, the U.S. Postal Service. They could pretend to be somebody that you know, like a family member or a friend. But the goal is the same with all of these impersonation scams, and that is to steal your money or get access to your personal information. There are several ways that impersonation scams work, but one of the ways is these scammers will contact you and they will tell you that there's a problem with your account, that it's urgent and they need to speak to you immediately. When this happens, it can create all types of panic because you're worried, is someone trying to hack my account? Is someone trying to steal my money? When you end up speaking with this scammer, they will tell you that the problem with your account is that the funds in the account have been linked to some criminal activity. They may say something like money laundering or drug trafficking. And when that happens now, there's even more panic because you're like, how did this happen? And importantly, what do I need to do to fix it? Well, the scammer has the answer. The scammer can help you fix it, because the scammer then is going to tell you the way that we can protect you and keep your money safe is that we're going to help you move it. And they may even try to make it sound more legitimate by saying, we're going to connect you with this government agency that they've impersonated or this company that they've impersonated, and they're going to help you move this money. But they're also a part of the scam. And when you speak to this person, this scammer who's going to help you move your money to keep it safe, as they've said, this person's going to tell you, we've got a special account set up for you, and we're going to help you transfer your money from this account into that account. They may tell you, you need to use the money in this account to buy gold bars. They may tell you to keep your money safe, we need you to withdraw all of it and deposit it to a special Bitcoin ATM. They might tell you, the way we have to keep it safe is to remove all of your money, and then we're going to arrange a courier to come meet you and pick up the money. But this is all lies. This is all a scam from beginning to end. This is all a scam. This is not the IRS. It's not the FTC. It's not Amazon. It's not the U.S. Postal Service. It's a scammer. It's all a scam. And when this is happening, this can feel very real because the scammer's goal is to create such panic and such urgency that you really don't have time to step back and think, wait a minute, this doesn't really make sense. Because they don't want to give you that opportunity. And in some cases, the scammers can get pushy and aggressive. They may threaten you in some way because they don't want you to have time to think about what's happening. But no legitimate company and no real government agency is going to tell you that you need to move your money to protect it.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So why are these kinds of scams growing so fast? Well, first, they work. The scammers are skilled talkers and can scare people. Technology has amplified the opportunities for those fast talkers to hit more marks. The internet makes the calls virtually free, and it's no big trick to send out thousands at a time. One tactic familiar to us all is a recorded message like this one.
Hello, this is Linda. This is the final reminder from the Office of Inspector General of Social Security Administration. Your Social Security number has been suspended. We would request you to get back to us so that we can discuss about this case. Thanks you.
Once you've come to know them, it's easy to hang up. For the scammers, it's a numbers game. They just keep dialing and dialing until they find someone vulnerable and who's willing to talk to a live person. The big innovation, and I suspect it'll only get worse with AI, is targeting individuals. Using data they've harvested or purchased, scammers call someone by name. That leads the mark to believe the call is legit. It could be a threat to send them to jail for missing jury duty or not paying some kind of fine. It could be an AI voice of one of their friends or relatives claiming to be in trouble and needing money for bail, transportation, or medical care. The call could come from someone who claims to have compromising information or images of the person, which will be released if money is not paid. The scammers are so bold and proliferous that they will sometimes send a courier to the mark's door to collect the cash. But most people don't keep large sums of cash around the house, so the scammers keep the mark on the phone to give them instructions and keep them from thinking about what they're doing. Like the case from King of Prussia, Pennsylvania that you heard at the top of the show. Scammers kept the woman on the line for 3 hours and distracted her from realizing what was really happening. To give you an idea of how effective these techniques can be, take the case of a woman from the San Gabriel Valley. She pleaded guilty to money laundering for her role in a massive scam that stole more than $11 million from about 180 victims nationwide. The woman worked with an overseas crew to target mostly elderly victims. They tricked these victims into sending money to multiple bank accounts in the Los Angeles area. Here's how they did it. Accomplices would contact victims, pretending to be government officials, police officers, or customer service representatives. These imposters scared victims with fake threats, claiming they needed to pay money immediately to avoid legal trouble or fix computer problems. Victims would then send money to bank accounts controlled by the woman and other conspirators she had recruited in the Los Angeles area. The money was immediately transferred overseas, primarily to China. Individual payments ranged from $1,000 all the way up to $400,000. Once the money was sent overseas, victims couldn't get it back, even after reporting the fraud to authorities. AI and power searching tools are wreaking more havoc by creating false obituaries. CNET took a look into why anyone would want to create a fake obit, and here's what it found.
There are dozens of obituary bot posts on Facebook, but they rarely receive any real engagement, even from accounts that have a decent number of followers. So why bother? If there isn't much engagement, why make these fake obituaries and cause even more grief to families who have experienced a real loss? Well, the harsh reality is even a fraction of your attention on the internet is worth something. The objective is ad space. The act of generating these posts provides scammers with their own online real estate, so to speak. Cost per click, CPC, or cost per thousand, CPM, is a metric when an advertiser pays a certain amount for every 1,000 impressions an ad receives. The bottom line is clicks equal cash in this business. Joshua Braun, an associate professor at the University of Massachusetts Amherst who studies profit-driven hoaxes, told us advertisers who are pumping the money into the system don't have any real accountability for where those ads are appearing. It's going through 2, 3, 5 intermediaries to place the ad. In an interview with CNET, Walter Schreier, author of the 2023 book, A History of Fake Things on the Internet, said, because you're doing it at scale, especially because it's automated, you're going to make some money that way, even if one person visits it.
Obituary scraping has given rise to a new type of phishing scam. Scams designed to get your personal information. Malwarebytes investigation found cybercriminals are now targeting grieving families by creating fake funeral live stream links to steal money and get credit card information. Malwarebytes Labs has identified two main approaches these criminals use. The first method involves fake live stream links. Scammers post comments claiming you can watch a funeral service online, and they ask you to share the link with friends and family. The second approach asks directly for donations supportedly on behalf of the deceased person's family. It usually starts with a comment posted under a funeral home's Facebook announcement. The comment will provide a link and asks the viewer to donate some money to help cover the cost of the feed. If you click that link, you'll land on a page that looks legitimate, but it actually redirects you to a phishing website designed to steal your information. After you provide an email address, the site asks you to activate your membership by entering your credit card details. They claim this is for a free service, but they say they need your credit card to verify your geographic location due to streaming licenses. Here's the catch. Hidden in the small print, often in a pre-checked box, is consent for recurring payments. In some cases, victims unknowingly agree to charges every 14 days. The BBC reported in March 2024 that these scammers sometimes respond to memorial posts within minutes of them being posted. They create fake profiles using stolen photographs, and personal details of the deceased person, making their posts look completely legitimate. To help protect families, some funeral homes have started adding notices to their announcements stating, "This funeral is not being live streamed," specifically to combat these scams. The National Association of Funeral Directors makes this important point. You shouldn't have to pay to view a funeral live stream, and official links will always be provided directly by the funeral director to the bereaved family. Another imposter scam that's growing in popularity brings the mark to the scammer rather than the other way around. They're called job scams, and scammers put ads on the internet hoping to rope in a mark. In other cases, they'll call you pretending to be a recruiter. The offer might promise a huge salary for very little work, or could include odd details like doing the entire interview over text or being paid in cryptocurrency. Sometimes they'll ask you to buy equipment or pay up front for supposed training, then send you a check, ask you to buy things, and when their fake check bounces, you're left out of pocket. If you're job hunting, those requests for personal info might not raise alarms at first. After all, real employers do need your Social Security number and bank details eventually. But a legitimate employer will ask for those things at the right time and through secure channels, not over text. If you get such a call or an ad asks you to provide personal information such as your Social Security number, don't tell them. Verify the company independent and ask if they're hiring. If they want a meeting, take it at their office rather than a coffee shop. You could encounter a scammer lying to your face. Impersonation scams are only going to get more sophisticated and more prolific. It's going to be more difficult to know who you can trust, so do your homework. Unfortunately, the burden will fall on you. If you enjoy the show, please tell your friends and encourage them to listen. And give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen. It's important to help people find the show. If you want to share some feedback with me, I have a new feature that allows you to send me a text. To protect your privacy, I can't text back, but I want to hear what you have to say, and you may get a shout out on the show. You can also find me on Instagram at Scams and Cons, and at Facebook, it's Scams & Cons. Thanks for listening.